Imagine this. You're sitting at your desk holding a single sheet of paper. On that paper, there's a single dot of ink, barely visible. You know it's tiny. But what if I told you that inside that dot is an entire universe? Stars, planets, civilizations, beings living their lives, completely unaware that their whole reality is nothing more than a microscopic speck on your desk. What if we are that speck? What if Earth, the solar system, the Milky Way, our entire universe is just one atom inside an unimaginably larger world? Is this just a fun thought experiment? Or is there an actual scientific reason to believe this might be true? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might never look at reality the same way again. We start with what we think we know. The observable universe stretches 93 billion light years across. That's a distance so big it's almost meaningless to say out loud. You could travel at the speed of light for your entire life and not even scratch the surface. Inside it, around 2 trillion galaxies, each with billions of stars, many with planets, and possibly life. To us, this is everything. The ultimate big. But here's the catch. Humans have a long history of thinking we're at the center of it all, only to find out we're much smaller than we thought. First, we thought Earth was the center. Then, we found out we orbited the sun. Then, we discovered our sun was just one star in a galaxy of hundreds of billions. Then, we found out there are billions of galaxies. Every time we've looked deeper, the universe got bigger. So, what makes us so sure we've reached the top of the size chart now? Let's shrink things down. An atom, the basic building block of matter, is about 100 million times smaller than the width of a human hair. Inside it, mostly empty space, a tiny nucleus in the center, and electrons whizzing around it. Sound familiar? A dense object in the middle surrounded by orbiting bodies. The solar system works the same way. Planets circling a star, moons circling planets. The patterns repeat. It's called self-similarity. Structures repeating themselves across vastly different scales. Could it be that atoms are just tiny universes, and our universe is just one giant atom to something else? Here's the strange thing about reality. There's no evidence that biggest or smallest even exist. If you zoom in on an atom, you find smaller particles, quarks. But who's to say quarks aren't made of something even smaller? Zooming out is the same. We see galaxies in clusters, clusters in superclusters. But maybe there's an even bigger structure we just can't detect. Some physicists even suggest reality could be fractal, patterns repeating infinitely both up and down in scale, meaning there's no top or bottom, just endless layers of reality. This isn't just science fiction. Some physicists have proposed the microverse theory, that entire universes could exist inside subatomic particles. If that's true, an atom in your fingertip could hold countless galaxies, and our own universe could just be a tiny particle inside someone else's coffee cup. But here's the mind-melting part. If the beings inside that atom looked up at their night sky, they might see what looks like an infinite universe, just like we do. One reason we might never realize this is because of the cosmic horizon. We can only see as far as light has had time to travel since the Big Bang, about 13.8 billion years. Anything beyond that is invisible to us. If we're inside something bigger, like a giant macro world, we'd never know because our senses and tools are locked inside our own scale. It's like an ant trying to imagine the internet. It doesn't even have the frame of reference. Here's where it gets really weird. Biologists have pointed out that the structure of the neural network in a human brain looks eerily similar to the distribution of galaxies in the universe. What if that's not a coincidence? What if our universe is literally part of the brain of some incomprehensibly large living being? And what if the atoms in our own bodies are their own tiny universes with life inside them? You could be walking around with entire civilizations existing inside you, never aware of each other. Another possibility, this isn't physical at all. If we're inside a simulation, scale might just be an illusion. The universe could feel massive to us, but it's just data inside some enormous system. An atom could be a whole world. A whole world could be an atom. The rules might change depending on how the simulation is coded. Here's the frustrating truth. we may never have a definitive answer. If we're too small to see up to the next scale or too big to see down to the smallest, we're trapped in our own level. The only hint might come from patterns, self-similarity, repeating structures, and strange coincidences in physics. But then, maybe one day something from outside will interact with our world. Maybe a scientist will find an anomaly so strange, so impossible to explain, that it forces us to rethink everything. So, could it be possible? Mathematically, yes. Philosophically, absolutely. We have no reason to believe our universe is the biggest or realest thing out there. And here's the real kicker. If we are just an atom in a bigger world, then our atoms might hold universes of their own. Which means that somewhere right now, there could be beings asking the same question about us. And they have no idea we're even here. If you enjoyed exploring this mind-bending theory, wait until you see what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning for just 5 seconds. Trust me, and the answer will shock you. Click here to watch it now.